right. What's going on, y'all? How is everybody? Hopefully everybody's doing well. And, you know, freaking crazy. So I thought I had it working, as far as the, Streamlabs. And, yeah. We had a couple of friggin' issues. Just a couple. And, as if that wasn't enough, we do have some breaking news, which we will get into, because I think it hurts your chances to go ahead and trade this player. Because if I am Scott Harris, I, in fact, I am trying to trade this player. So, you are probably wondering, what the hell are we doing today? And, well, there's plenty. So, yeah. So, obviously, if you're just joining, we got breaking news on the Tigers. Not great, Bob. Not great. You're also probably wondering why we're doing it from phone. Check the description, as I was basically gut punched before I got on here. Yippee. So, anyway, welcome. Welcome to the First Gen series. So, obviously, this is going to be a little bit different than Pops' farm, or Grandpa's farm, excuse me. There is, well, we got plenty going on. Plenty. So, here's what we will do. Let's talk about the series for a moment. We will get into the news, and then rest of the night, we will go ahead and jump right into it. Because, well, we have, let's see, that's 4, that's 10, that's 12. We got 13 things to talk about tonight. So, gonna be a long one. So we are chilling up here at the shop. Uh, we have plenty more to do up here, but well, I don't because I'm not running it. But obviously, we are gonna have a used dealer going on. And this is where we will buy all of our freaking equipment. I've already got my eyes on this freaking thing. Looking freaking beautiful. What else we got here? We got a big bud. We have what is this? Challenger. Pretty interesting looking tractor. Not gonna lie. Like that. We got what is this? Challenger mower. Interesting. Might have to come up for that. We got the friggin' Jaguar. Friggin' Jaguar, dude. Friggin' silage chopper. We got the good old friggin' 2388. Looking all smexy with the header. We got a loader. We got a bunch of different things going on. Now, obviously, kind of already mentioned it, but yeah, I got my eyes on that. We might have to spend some money to get that. However, we did spend some money on, well, this contraption. I have no idea if it's going to work, but we'll figure it out. We have 333,156, and we are on the first gen series. So today we got a lot to freaking do. We got the Hashi Jeep hanging out. Good old freaking American Forces, dude. Freaking stellar. So let's go take a look at what we got going on. And then we will go ahead and get into what the hell we're going to be doing today. It is October 22nd. Winter is on the way. We have got rain in the forecast. We have got to sell some logs. We got a lot to do. So hopefully, if I don't go in the lake, things should work out. Maybe. So while we are driving, let's go ahead. Let's hop into the breaking news with the Tigers, and then we will get back to the first gen series. Obviously, nice to see Tigers win. Now, the win doesn't do anything for me. I'll explain why. Very, very, very simply, if we check the standings, you are still 10 games out. And one of your assets that you were getting ready to trade at the deadline is now hurt. Therefore, you might be down to one piece that is going to get you anything. The Detroit Free Press is reporting Casey Mize was pulled due to a injury. Uh-oh. Oh, there it is. We got a freaking dozer, boys. So we will explain that contraption in a little bit. But anyway, I have spent a lot more hours than I would like to admit on, well, cleaning this out, because it was nothing but trees. And so we got to make some fields and we got to make some money. We have quite a bit of land. We have 2 fields, 7 and 8 on the map. And yeah. So we got to make do with what we have. We got the fraggin' Dolly, along with the Smexy Iron Bull, freaking loaded. But that's not all we're going to be doing today. If we come over here, we don't have a house. We don't have nothing. So, we are going to be spending some money to go ahead and fix that. Now, if we go ahead and we run out here, I guess I could have just freaking did that, but whatever, we can run. We got us a freaking dozer, bros. Freaking dozer. Looking good. And, yeah, so we need to do that because, well, we have to make a pad for the house. And, yippee. We also got to go and pick up that tractor and that cultivator. So, yippee. Let's go ahead and let's hop in here so you can see just how ridiculous this is. We have cleaned out that spot. And yeah. Obviously, you can see there is going to be some challenges because of, if we zoom in, this is all hilly. Over here we got some hills, but there is nobody for miles. We do have the good old animal point. We got some cell points. What else? We have got, looks like, I believe that is the barrel making place. We got another sell point. We got the dealer. We got the farmer's market. And then there is this farm over here. We got the lake I almost went into. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting based on, well, we only have a chainsaw right now to take out trees. Yippee. This should be fun. But we do have all of this freaking land And man, oh man, is it going to be fun. So I reckon, let's go ahead and let's do the freaking business. How do I want to do this? So I probably want to go over here. And that looks like a straight enough shot that this should work. So obviously, as I said, Streamlabs was throwing a bunch of errors at me. Have no idea what happened. I am going to work on that. How do I do this? There we go. Okay. I think. No. Dang it. There we go. Okay. Wow. Whole 8 miles an hour. Nice. But was getting a whole bunch of errors. Have no idea what was going on. I am going to try and fix that over the weekend. We will get into a little bit of a game plan as far as how I want to map this out because of we're going to have to spend quite a bit of money. So, yippee. All right. If you are just joining, you saw the thumbnail, you know what we're talking about. The Detroit Free Press is reporting Casey Mize is injured. That's why he was pulled from tonight's game. Oh, buddy. We got to talk about that. Because you might be down to one freaking asset at the trade deadline. And honestly, I'm kind of fired up about it. So we'll talk about that. I mentioned the 13 things that we got to talk about as well. This is going to be a wide-ranging conversation regarding this baseball team. And so, I believe that can work for now. Need to hop in here. And, all right. Smacksy. Friggin' cool. All right. But, as I said, wide-ranging conversation, so we can get into it. Yeah. Let's go ahead, and I want to see. Okay, awesome. We do have them. Interesting. We can get into the cows later, but yeah, let's just start with the Mize injury. The Mize injury is going to be very crucial for you. I think that is going to tell you a lot regarding where this team is at. So obviously, last night I talked about the fact of that. That's not what I wanted. There we go. This trade deadline is going to define the Scott Harris era and his tenure here in Detroit. So, with that said, I do believe the Casey Mize injury does hurt you right now because, quite frankly, he would be your second tradable asset. We all know the first one. It's Scooble. And that's where I want to start tonight because I talked about it last night. In the welcome to the Farming and BS YouTube channel. So if you would like to check that out, go ahead and do that. And you are in the captain's chair. We are going to take Scott Harris out of this. And while I am looking at prices here, we are going to put you in the captain's chair. What do you do with Tarek Skubal? This is where I think the conversation gets, well, interesting. Because to me, there is one thing that, alrighty then, I guess we're going to carpentry. Yippee. There is one thing that you can do with Tarek. And that is trade him. You have the most valuable piece at the trade deadline. Very, very simple. So, sell me this pen. Take Scott Harris out of it. Take the fandom out of it. And just look at it from a baseball perspective. You are in the captain's chair. What do you do? And here is the point that I am going to make. We all know who Tarek Skubal's agent is. It's Scott Boras. And to me, if Tarek wanted to be here, okay then, interesting. I guess we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull these off one by one. Alrighty then. This should be fun. This is the main point I want to make. If Tarek wanted to be here, then let me go ahead and tell you that Tarek would go to his agent and say, look, make me a Tiger for life. Because we all know Tarek has that cachet. Or you're fired. That's simple. So, with that said, there is one more point that I would like to make on the Tarek Skubal front. Obviously, Tarek did not go to his agent and say that. Well, that tells me one thing and one thing only. Tarek, you don't want to be here. Otherwise, you would say it. So therefore, cool. Now, you can go ahead and get out of Dodge. That simple. Wow, 11,380. Oh, I forgot one. Whoops. Oh well. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Now, when I look at it from a organizational standpoint, if Tarek wanted to be here, Tarek would be here. That simple. Now comes in where I think the situation gets interesting. We all know that they are honestly quite scared to call people up because of, roster ramifications and things and stuff. And my thing is, okay, cool. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at that. Because who are you worried about that you have to worry about these ramifications that may or may not exist? And we begin with Mr. Homer himself, Spencer Torkelson. The data tells you that that pick has not worked out. And can that draft be debatable because of, what was going on in the world? If you want it to be that way, you can. But inevitably, he goes out, he gets the home run, and now he will go quiet for the next 5 games. Then we get into, how about everybody's favorite, good old Wenceel Perez? If we're being honest with ourselves, nobody besides the pitcher on the other team is the one who, in fact, gets bricked up. Then you see the reports that came out this week of the Tigers and, well, we're scared to let Wenceel go and we're going to lose him to another team and things and stuff. Meanwhile, it's been a cool story for however long it's been. Yet, this is the same person or player who is a part of the Little League routine. And it is astonishing to me that he is on. Where did my chainsaw go? There we go. Okay, interesting. That's so cool when that happens. Anyway, so my thing is, name me one team out of the 30 teams in the MLB who is scared or fearful when Wenceel Perez gets up to the plate. Go ahead. One team. It is, in fact, a total fart noise. Then you've got, yes, the face of franchise, the freaking all-star, Zach McKinstry. And yet they're scared to lose him because of things and stuff and plays. And then, of course, you have Jahmai Jones, who is, in fact, also a nothing. But, you know, roster ramifications and stuff and things in sports. Nobody is scared of these guys. Nobody. And as I said, the only people who get bricked up for face of franchise, Zach McKinstry and Jahmai Jones and Wenceel Perez and even Gage Workman. It's literally a real name. Gage Workman. What? Nobody is scared of these guys. The other pitcher gets bricked up. It's insane. The thing is that, to me, Scott Harris is in fact telling you, the fan, that this is okay. That it is, in fact, okay for the team to make little league mistakes and 12,173, and we got the whole trailer. Nice. But Scott is telling you that this is okay. And as I said in the last couple of streams, I don't think we're mad enough. So, with being 10 games out, you're 6 games out of a wild card spot. Here's my next question. only in this town is it, great toughness, gritty togs will come back, bonerific, we got this. Guys, that was 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And not only that, but I believe you were only 9.5 out. And not only that, but here's the other thing too. The Little League mistakes, like I just mentioned, not only are they costing you in the regular season, are you, the fan, going to be okay with that when it comes to a playoff game and let's say it is Wenzel Perez or face of franchise all-star Zach McKinstry? Look, I know what you're going to tell me. Baseball is strange. Yes, baseball is strange. I will agree with you 1,000% on that. But to sit here and act as if this team is going to just wake up one day and decide that they are going to go on a run, I just don't see it. I just don't. Especially when you keep giving chances to guys that are not that good. Now, let me say this. The one thing that I believe is getting blown out of proportion is this idea that, oh my God, it's the injuries. It's just the injuries that are causing it, and just, things and stuff and sports. Now, do injuries matter? Yes, they do. But guys, they don't matter this much. They don't. It is very, very simple. This idea of that Kerry Carpenter, who I think we all love because of the occasional home run in the playoffs, the good old Kerry Bonds routine, and all of it. You think Kerry Carpenter is coming to save you? He's not. And then we get into that Chris McCoskey story, which I thought was just completely and utterly asinine, based on, oh, it's just all of Gleyber Torres. This team only needs a Gleyber to come back, and he can be the one who can save us. Guys, his best season was, I believe, 23 or 24, where he had that miraculous 1,000 OPS. If that were the case, and Gleyber returns to that, we get Riley Green with some power, Dylan Dingler, then I can start to put the pieces together to say, okay, maybe, just maybe, you can climb out of that 6-game hole and get into a wild card spot. To what? Get swept in the first round? That's not good enough. This team had World Series expectations. Period. And look, do I think we need to adjust our expectations? Absolutely. But here's the thing I want to ask. Do you mean to tell me that the Tigers can climb out of this 10-game hole and what if Cleveland continues to play 8,400? Nice. All right. We got some freaking cash. I think we can do our little payments now. Or not our payments. Our freaking building and stuff. But what if Cleveland stays at 500? And not only that, but here's your next problem. After the Angels tomorrow, guess who's waiting on deck? The White Sox. That's a divisional game. All right. We need to move the Jeep here. Okay. That's interesting. Okay. Okay. That's cool. Never seen that before, but all right. All right. So let's go ahead and let's price out. I'm going to wait on the cows. But we do need to check on houses here. Oh, okay, so not bad. Yeah, I probably want to go somewhere around there. Okay, so that's 25. What do we got for buildings? Oh boy. It's a little big, but we do kind of need the space. Oh, this is 40. That's not bad. I don't know if we'd be able to fit everything in there, but possibly do it. All right, so where is... All right, so let's go ahead. Let's continue building the pad here. And then we shall go from there. But no, my thing is that what if Cleveland stays at 500? And to me, these divisional games are going to matter because when you look at the standings, Guardians are in first, White Sox are in second, and then it's the Twins. And ironically, after the Angels, you have the White Sox. Then you have the surprise of the season to me, which is the Tampa Bay Rays. Then the unfinished business. Gee, I wonder what team that could be. Oh, wait. Seattle is waiting after the Rays. Then it's back to divisional games with the Twins. And guess who's looming? Oh, that's right. The Guardians. They're sitting there waiting for you. All right, so now that we got the pad, let's make sure that is good enough. And right there. Oh, look. We can actually customize this. It's kind of cool. Interesting. Never noticed that before. All right, so that should be big enough, I think. I hope. Or do we go ahead and put it like that? Yeah, no, that's not going to work. Okay, apparently my controller does not want to work. Interesting. There we go. Nice. All right, so now I got to figure out where we're going to put the shop. I think we can put it over here. And then that will leave us enough room to go out this way. And then we can go from there. So let's go ahead. Grab the freaking dozer. And let's go ahead and try and build a pad for that. But yeah, those divisional games are going to matter. And honestly, I want to say that it is truly going to depend on what the numbers look like. And the reason why I say that is because, guys, that's baseball. Those numbers matter. That's data. All right, so we are freaking ripping with this thing. So let me get into my biggest fear. Here is my biggest fear that I am going to put at, for right now, I'm going to say 18%, which is we get the talking points. That is my biggest fear because of we can do this for another topic, but you won't ever convince me that all 4 of the Detroit GMs don't sound the same. And it's funny that I'm saying this because I can hear Scott now with the smartest guy in the room routine, and it being this idea of that the mirage of 24 is in fact the reason why they're not headed for a rebuild. Oh, that hurt. All right. Nice. All right. Let's go ahead and check this thing out. And it's the margins routine. The margins routine. And we'll get better from within. Our guys are going to grow. Just all the talking points. Because to me, I do believe you are headed for a rebuild. Okay, so my thought process would be we can either build out this way or we can build from that way and then we can go from there. We shall see. But here's the deal. Here is the one thing that we do not do on this channel, and it is talking points. And my thing is that these talking points have led to what I heard yesterday. Well, in fact, before I get into that, let me explain the thumbnail. So I was listening to the radio today, and some of you may know this man, otherwise known as That's Mike Stone. Otherwise known as Stoney. And Stoney believes that You, the Tigers, are headed for a rebuild. And that is why I put the thumbnail the way I did. Because of, I do believe you're headed for a rebuild. I believe that based on, you look at this roster, and this roster is quite a ways away. Whether it's Jahmai Jones, whether it's Zach Short, whether it's Wenceel Perez, whether it is face of franchise Zach McKinstry. Zach McKinstry being an all-star was as fake as the Pistons' regular season. Now, on top of that, here is the main problem with this organization and this team. We have talked about it for over 2 years now, maybe even 3. You need hitting. So let me get to the first point. You know how I talked about the Seattle series being unfinished business to a lot of fans? Because that's the game that you could have won. Game 5, I believe it was. You could have won that game, and nobody will convince me of this, but you would have won that game if you would have called up Kevin McGonigal. Point 2. Guys, I can't blame AJ. The small stuff you can get on AJ for. You can. The 4-game stretch where AJ hit Riley Green, your best hitter, 5th, 4th, put Wenceel 3rd. And that's where the sell me this pen begins. It is the idea of, okay, so who's your core? Who is your core players for this baseball team? We know who number 1 is. It's Kevin McGonigal. Number 2 for me, it's your power source. It's Dylan Dingler. And number 3 is Riley Green. Now, number 4 and 5, this is where I'm going to get in trouble. Well, actually, 4, 5, and 6, I'm going to get in trouble with. But the problem is that they are stuck in the minors. Number 4 is Max Clark. Now, does Max Clark have some flaws? He does. The drops are a thing. But the fact of the matter is, I would rather see him do that than Wenceel Perez or Zach Short or Jahmai Jones. Eventually, I do want to get a gate up. We got to put up Slurry tank, we gotta put up so much. So before we get tilling here, we gotta hop up in here. So it looks like this side is gonna be our bigger field. I think I am gonna save that for our hay ground, because what I would like to do is possibly either next to the shop or behind the shop, I would like to put the cattle barn. So I think let's get after the smaller field first, then we can tackle the bigger field and go from there. We got that on. That's good. Let's see what we can do here. So I think, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to do it because I would like to stretch this field out. Since this is going to be our grain field, we can go ahead and stretch it out just a little bit. And then we can find a way for our bale storage, our grain bins, stuff like that. And then we can basically go from there. But number 5 in your core, to me, is the player you keep disrespecting. And nothing supports it. Nothing. There is no metric. There is no analytical data. Nothing. Not service time. Not any of it. And I do not understand the disrespect for this kid. It is Max Anderson. And in fact, give me one moment. Here we go. Max Anderson, 24 years old. Right now, he's got a 807 OPS. At one point, it was 1,000. .392 average. Kid is raking in the minors. And then number 6, Eduardo Valencia. Last year, he led the minor league team in home runs. He is 26. And as I said, Last season, he led the team in home runs. I would give the kid a chance. And then, of course, we have number 7, which is my honorable mention, which he's in a little bit of a slump right now, but that's expected, is Jace Young. They are core pieces to your franchise. And for some reason, they are rotting in AAA. And I don't understand why. I don't. I really do not understand why. But again, it goes back to the first point that I made. Scott Harris is telling you that this is okay. And I don't think that that's right. Especially given those young guys are in the minors, raking it up. And the other thing is that, yeah, I would rather see the kids make the mistakes than the AAA merchants. As in Zach Short, Zach McKinstry, Jahmai Jones, Wenzel Perez. Just, no. So sell me this pen. Who is the core? We've already done the Scooble conversation. And look, I don't think you have a choice. I don't. To me, if Scooble wanted to be here, he would go to Scott Boras and say, look, here's the deal. Make me a Tiger for life, or you're fired. Period. And look, the math is the math. To me, we talked about it last week. You would have to go 66-45 the rest of the way. Guys, I don't see this team playing 600 ball the rest of the way, especially if it goes back to the question that I asked. What if Cleveland stays at 500? Then what? Then what are you going to do? You have the brutal schedule coming up. I believe the injuries are getting blown out of proportion. Because no, I don't believe that, well, I said it the day it happened. I said it the day that the report came out that Glaber was hurt. Guys, an oblique can truly, truly affect a hitter. Then on top of that, it's the same thing with you've got Glaber, you have got Kerry Carpenter. No, I don't think Kerry Carpenter is coming to save this team. The only reason that Parker Meadows is on the roster or will be on the roster is because he is a Gold Glove center fielder. That's not a hot take. His glove speaks for itself. And yeah, quite frankly, I do believe it has to be uncomfortable. I truly and utterly believe that the Scott Harris era will be defined in 70 days when the trade deadline happens. I think with what happened tonight, I don't think you're trading Casey Mize. You don't have many valuable assets. And that's a problem. And that's where I truly believe we're going to see the defining moment of the Scott Harris era at the trade deadline. And look, here's the thing, because I know I'm going to get this. Oh, well, you're just negative. No, I'm rooted in truth. And here's the other thing, too. The other thing is I'm not here to cape up for these teams. I'm here for you, the fan. Period. End of story. All right. We need to... That ain't worth selling, so let's go ahead and get rid of that. Get rid of that. And then we can turn that off. And then let's try and let's get our other field created. So as I said, this one is going to be our hayfield, because this is the field that we are going to call Moneymaker. Why? Because, well, it's going to be our biggest field, and not only that, but I hope to even extend it. But no, I do believe in the fact that the organization was, in fact, seduced by 24 and the miraculous comeback. And it has now came back to bite them in the you-know-what. And, you know, my other thing is that not calling up a Valencia, not calling up a Max Anderson. You know, I mean, I heard Gators say it this week that, oh, we don't want to call him up because he doesn't have enough walks. And it's like, bro, ain't nobody trying to hear it. Ain't nobody trying to hear about walks. But the main problem with this team is offense. We've been saying that for 2 years, maybe even 3. You, the fan, see it. I see it. And people with half a brain see it. So this idea that it's the pitching or it's this or it's that. No, it is the offense. And I just think it is completely hilarious to blame anyone else than Scott Harris. As I said, I cannot blame AJ Hinch because we got to look at who's buying the groceries. Scott Harris. And then we have to stop with one thing. And that is, oh, well, the owner's cheap. So let me go through this and you tell me if good old Christopher Ilitch is cheap. These are Scott Harris's free agent signings. Now, this is a moment where I am going to say something that you're probably not going to hear, and I'm okay with that. Scott Harris has done one thing right and one thing only. And that's modernizing the franchise. So, with that said, here is your 2023 in memoriam Michael Lorenzen, who was traded at the deadline for Hao Yu Lee. 1 year, $8.5 million. Okay, so we're already up to $8 million. Then you got Matthew Boyd. 1 year, $10 million. Okay, well that's $18 million. Ah, yes. Good old 2024. I don't have a calculator on me, so y'all are going to have to do some maths. Everybody's favorite signing in the offseason. Good old Kenta Maeda. 2 years, $24 million. Jack Flaherty, who, quite frankly, I would DFA. 1 year, $14 million. Then you have Andrew Chafin and Shelby Miller, who are both 1 year contracts. And then you have good old, here's a name for you. Good old Gio Urshela. 1.5 mil. Mind you, we were already at 18 million. All right, then we get to 25. Manuel Margot, a 1-year, $1.3 million deal. Okay, so add 1.3 mil to the total. How about Brebbia? Who? Then you got Tommy Canley. 1 year, 7.7. And then, of course, the dead cat bounce that was good old Alex Cobb. 1 year, 15 million. And then we get to 2026. Kyle Finnegan. 2 years, 19 million. Kenley Jansen, who has blown the most saves in the Major League Baseball League, has the most blown saves. You paid him off of a off year. Justin Verlander, 1 year, 13 million. And then, of course, the 3-year, $115 million deal of Framber Valdez. Uh-oh. So here's my thing. Scott Harris needs to be looked at. And trust me, it ain't just Scott Harris either. We'll get into the other three a little bit later. But look, the Valdez signing, I truly believe got everybody amped. Because that was supposed to be your 1-2 punch. Skubal and Valdez. And, well, we've seen how that went. But look, if you are going into a rebuild, here's my next question. What do you do with Framber? You know you have no choice but to get rid of Skubal. Okay, well, that's kind of interesting. I would say regarding the news tonight, I don't believe you're getting rid of Casey Mize. And not only that, but I think with the injury, I don't think he has much value. And that's where I truly believe things are going to be interesting. You know, do you try and move for Amber and see what you get? And as far as tonight, cool. You won a game. As I said, it means nothing. So I believe we are going to end it here. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. If you did and are excited for the first gen series, go ahead and drop a like, drop a comment. I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate you guys commenting. Appreciate you guys liking. You guys are the best. You guys are the real MVPs. We'll catch you on the next one, man. Later.